Hi, it's Zoe. What's up? So today's my presentation is going to be about child development from age 2 to 13, which is the transition from child to adolescent and the beginning of puberty for child. And this time I can see you good. Nice. So here's the background introduction. It is a time of great change, physically, mentally, emotionally, for the child, and it is also their puberty, which is they start to questioning about sex, and during this stage, most child will begin feel the effect of puberty, and although this is the ongoing process, it might take more than you know. Uh, 2 or 3 years and up to 5 years, but that's the beginning of it. I think around 10 or 11, and it will affect a lot of the relationship between the childrens and the parents, because puberty you get too much hormones and too much attitudes, and then your life changes. You are moving your childhood to adolescent, maybe closer, more close to an adult stage, more responsibilities and more things to learn. And so for overall, the child development have like one, two, five big factor that develop. The first is physical development. Um, physically they could take care. Physical development. Physically they could take care of themselves, be more independent, and they don't need to be reminded of doing something because they're already grown enough to know that. And they could perform many households and chores and cooking meals with guidance, even without guidance for some people. And the brain and hormones and everything can, um, it's growing and it's fluctuating in their body. Most girls will start their menstruation cycle, which is, they start having their periods, and a lot of boys will experience the side effects of higher levels of serotonin, which is, um, I don't know. During the time, they need to feel okay about the change about their bodies. And honestly, the reason why I do this because when I was adolescent, I didn't feel good about. I didn't get a proper guidance, like how should I review all of these things. I was kind of left out, and I wasn't being. I don't know. It wasn't. I wasn't really properly treated during the time. I wasn't properly also guided, so I have a like really. Before I was like 15, 16, I had like kind of bad image and bad memories about um making us about towards sex and towards myself, the body image and everything that's changing during my adolescence, during my puberty, and it was a really hard. It was really tough for me from the beginning to the end because I didn't get a proper guidance. Well, because I was from China, and a lot of people don't like really acknowledge psychologies and child health, and then they even think that child probably don't even need a house, but which is really ridiculous. It's important for us. And the second is intellectual development. Kids are getting smarter during this time. They're more capable of managing their own time during this time, organizing themselves and completing tasks like homework, things their parents tell them to do. And she's not she, but the kids during this time generally become more aware of their own desire, of what they want and what their drives for. And girls generally have hit puberty earlier than boys, and the experience repeatedly grows and brain development more intensely. So which is means that their brains start develop more. So until I think, because they say that brain didn't stop development until 24 years old. So I guess That's the beginning of our development. And because of this time of madness, there's a lot of like raging hormones because it's a puberty for kids, and the teenagers need to grow up, which means that they need to be more mature during this time, but also they're growing, so they're kind of being mature. But yeah, and then it's language communication development. Language communication development becomes more influenced by peers and popular culture, which is we could all see it like for the girls from my perspective, from my experience, it's like the Kim Kardashians. I don't know. It's probably makes all those reality TV shows and stuff like girls are just talk like Kardashians for some reason. But yeah, it's a really important time for the child to like increase their vocab and their language use, and they definitely almost for sure will learn curse words, slang words, and phrase and use against youth culture at the time. And at the time of the kids, they feel a stronger needs to conform themselves to their peers, and they may have done something illegal and then consider normal to be cool because it's a lesson. And the communication is still vital to a health relationship with their child, so during this time you should really try to communicate with if you're parents or something or caregiver, you should try to really communicate with the kids around this age, and don't be too pushy and don't be telling them everything, because around that age they wouldn't listen. They would just think like they're whatever they think is right. So if you tell them that, oh, you should do this, they're gonna be like doing the opposite. Just be their friends or something. Don't be like too pushy. Be more understanding, and sometimes you have to have a lot of patience for those kids because they're younger. Be the big man. And then the fifth, it's the emotional development. During this stage, the stage can feel like the beginning of a storm brewing, which is maelstrom, which is it's like your emotion goes before the storm. You know what I mean? Like before your emotional storm hits, because of the crazy hormone changes, all the testosterone and testosterone and whatever. It's like making the kids moves really unstable, and also it's just like they were changing and developing hormones and can really affect the ability to express itself. And people normally during this time have a great awareness of the emotions around them and themselves. And but she's still learning to relate. Like at some point, like you're just beginning to feel the emotions, but you're not like we're at the stage you will understand emotions. So for most kids, it's time for them to learn to relate to those feelings, which is this can also lead to a problem. Like if you're a kid and you're been shown improper like feelings, for example, like some kids shouldn't be feeling some like way mature feelings like breaking up, I don't know, like divorce or your parents divorce. You have to go through certain type of emotion, and those could really have a side effects on a child's emotional development, because it's like unhealthy, I guess. And then in the end, oof, social development. I can't believe I just used myself, took up this whole 10 minutes. I'm gonna wrap it up. And they're socially, kids during this age is socially need to conform to their peers, and to feel good about themselves, to be seen, to be aware. And childs during this time have a more awareness around their sexuality, relationship, and the opposite sex is becoming more increasingly important for them during the stage. they will have more question about sex, which means it's normal. So you should really be more open and talk about it instead of being conservative or being controlling or any way negative about towards sex, because kids around this age are normal. Like most of people start going through puberty around this time, and you know how it feels and stuff. So like when kids are like your kids are you know, if you have a kid that's like 12, 11, 13, 10, should really be open, not should be like shy or anything to be concerned about the sex. And all of this I digged out of the I think it's a website organization called The Passage. I linked all the source down there, but I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can. I mean, you can probably see the page, but yeah. So here's my presentation, and the reason I want to do it is because you know, enjoy. Have a good spring.